Have you hit a fat loss plateau, wondering if more cardio will help? Watch this.
First caller is Pradeep from San Francisco.
What's up, Pradeep? How can we help you?
I've been listening to all three of you over the last 3 to 4 months. And, every day it's like eye-opening whenever I hear the questions. Hey, I'm going through that question. I'm going through that. So I can relate a lot when I hear the comments, the questions, and how you answer them. So thank you for all that you do.
You're welcome.
Great.
Yeah. So the question, I sent one question on the email to you guys, and then very recently I had a follow-up question, but I'll start with my original question. So I'm 39 years old. I am 225 pounds, and I have a very high body fat of 33%. And I never did weights in my life or strength training until 8 months back. And actually 1 year back, I was 240 pounds and I did 3 months of cardio, got to 225. And somewhere, I don't know if I stumbled upon to you guys who said that, focus on strength training. So I went into strength training. So what happened is that in the last 8 months, I haven't lost a single pound I haven't lost a single pound of weight. I'm still at 225. Having said that, I have lost around 3 inches around the waist. So I feel really good about that. And 8 months is a long time not to see any movement on the scale. But at the same time, since I'm seeing movement around the waist and my body fat is coming down, I feel pretty good about it. But my concern is that I will end up being a 225-pound strong person if I continue on this path, instead of being an 180-pound or 185-pound strong person with 15% body fat. So that's my goal. That's what I want to achieve over the course of next 18 months. So I'll be turning 40 in like 18 months. So I want to give the best version of myself to myself at 40. So I wanted to be at 185 pounds, 15% body fat, if that's possible in 18 months time frame from where I am right now. So the question I want to ask you is like, should I bring back cardio a lot? Because I used to do cardio. I've seen improvements there, but I stopped doing cardio and just focused on strength training. So I wanted to know if I'm confused about this whole cardio thing. Is it should someone like an obese guy like me should focus on cardio and not just strength training? So if you guys can give some clarity around that, that would be helpful.
Not yet. Not yet, Pradeep. You're actually a couple things. One, you're actually doing pretty damn good. Okay, so I want to start by saying that the fact that you're dropping inches on your waist and 3 inches on your waist is significant. So you're actually doing really good. What I am reading that you didn't say yet is your maintenance calories around 2,000 calories. So
yeah, it's around 2,300.
So
it's improved a little bit, yeah.
So if we were to continue down the path of just restricting calories and or potentially adding cardio, eventually you're going to get to a place where you're eating pretty low calorie in order for you to get to that 185 range that you want to, and it's probably not sustainable. So where I would take you right now is actually into a kind of a mini bulk where we're trying to increase your calories. Because part of why you feel like you're stalled out a little bit is for your size, 2,000 calories is pretty low. Like I'd like to see you get up to a place where we're north of 3,000 calories for the amount of size that you have on you. And that would make the cut a lot easier, even though that's going to delay the weight loss momentarily. In the long run, it's going to speed up your results. And then also when you get to your 185 range, it'll be more maintainable than if we just continue down the path of cutting.
Yeah. Pradeep, before, I answer the question about cardio and all that, and what Adam said is, obviously on point, but I think it's important to understand what's happening with your body. So I'm going to use an analogy that might help you understand, right? So let's say you're at a job and you make, $50 an hour. And you need to make more money. So you decide, I'm going to just work more hours. Or you could take some money aside and invest it in accounts that give you a return of, let's say, 10%, year over year. Working more hours will get you more money right now, faster. But the investment will get you more money easier in the long run. So what you're doing right now is you're setting yourself up for better, more sustainable results in the long run. So will you lose weight on the scale faster if you just did a bunch of cardio right now? You would. but would you be setting yourself up for a potential failure? Definitely. So there's nothing wrong with doing cardio. In fact, what I would recommend you do right now is just try to walk a few times a day, probably after breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Just do that for now. Stay on track. And what you're doing right now is you're building muscle. Because look, if you lose 3 inches, that's a lot. Okay, 3 inches around the waist is a lot. If you lost 3 inches around your waist and your weight stayed the same, you lost a substantial amount of body fat and gained a substantial amount of muscle. And that muscle is very active. It's going to burn more calories for you. It's going to give you a faster metabolism. And if you do this, if you continue on the right path, eventually you're going to end up in a position where it's much more maintainable. It's much more sustainable than what you might have done before. So you got to really look at this and say, okay, I'm in this for the long run. I want to do this in a way to where I don't find myself bouncing back and forth like everybody does. Like if you look at the statistics on weight loss, it's like 90% fail rate, right? We don't want to do the 90% fail rate. Like it's great if you lose 30 pounds now, but who cares if you gain it back and then some later on, right? So we want to do this the right way.
Wherein I lost weight before and I gained it all back. That's why I'm really happy I got into strength training now.
Yeah. Yes. So you're doing it. You're doing the right. You're going the right direction right now. It's just you got to stay the course and allow the metabolism to build, allow the muscle to build. But if the fact that you lost inches and your weight stayed the same is actually really good news to me. If I was your trainer, I'd be very ecstatic about that. There's another part to this. I'm looking at your question. You didn't say this yet, but you said your calories are around 2,300. Your protein is about 120 grams. I would say even if you kept your calories the same, but just increase your protein and maybe drop your carbs a little bit, I bet you'll see even better results. I'd like to see you aim for 180 grams of protein a day.
Well, in a perfect world, this is actually, okay, a perfect world right now is you take the advice on walking, say a total of a half hour to 45 minutes a day, like post-workout, like Sal was saying, breaking it up in 10-minute, 20-minute walks or whatever, or in one shot, doesn't matter. Add that, increase your protein. I actually wouldn't reduce carbs. I'd actually use that as his bump of calories.
Yeah, because then it would only be another 50, 60 grams. Right?
Yeah, you're not talking about, so literally just bump the protein up. The additional movement from the walking is going to negate any fat gain, I think, from the additional calories. And those additional grams of protein will support the weight training you're doing and hopefully speed your metabolism up. But you said 18 months, right? That's kind of the goal. I think that's, by the way, that's just, and I'm going to say some hypothetical numbers but to give you an idea of like how good you are right now. You could focus on reverse dieting, meaning increasing calories, building strength, not really losing weight on the scale for, let's say, the next 3 months. And you're going to put yourself in a really good place calorie maintenance wise, and then start cutting from there. And you'll hit your goal before the 15 months is up after that. So you're in a good place right now, but the focus should be on building muscle and getting your calorie intake up without adding a bunch of weight on the scale. Like that would be if you and I at the end of 30 days looked at each other and you're like, Adam, my waist hasn't changed, the scale hasn't changed, but I am eating 2,300 calories every single day. I would tell you that's a huge win. And if we can do that next month and do another 300 calories and then another month and do another 300, now we're up to 2,900 calories a day and you're not moving on the scale, then I could go, all right, bro, let's drop you down to 2,300 and watch the weight just come off. So that's kind of what it would look like.
Got it.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes complete sense to me. Actually, I'm glad I called because I was actually in my mind thinking of going for a cut, but the advice you guys telling me is to go for a mini bulk. So
yes, yes, I like that. And are you following any of our programs right now?
Not yet. I'm actually following this 5x5 routine from one app called Strong Lifts, which I'm using, but I haven't still plateaued yet. So I was thinking of changing programs once my progressive overload hits a plateau. Right now, I started with an empty bar 8 months back, and then right now I'm at around 200 pounds for a squat. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to max out soon. So at that time, I want to move to something. But during this process, one question I have for you guys, when I just said the follow-up question is that as I increase my weights, I am noticing that my right is working more. I'm a right-handed guy, so my right is working more than my left. So I'm trying to take some time and on not increasing the loads and get more, I don't know the right word.
Balance.
Stability or balance. Yeah. Balance on both sides. So that's something I am.
Let us give you a program because we have a perfect program for what you're experiencing right now. So let us give you a program. I would love to see you do map symmetry right now, because it's specifically designed to balance out the left and right. And if you already are noticing that, you notice it well enough, that would serve you more to get into that right now as soon as you can. And it would be good because we're going to go on a little bit of a bulk, so it'll be a new routine. So sending a new signal to the body, a different training method with the calorie increase would only benefit you. So let us send that over to you.
I appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you. Again, love all that you do, and more power to you guys.
Awesome.
No problem, man. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, that I like using that analogy because I think that's the main reason why people fail is they go for the quick result. And yeah, the scale will move fast if you just stop eating and do a lot of movement. But you're not going to look. Again, the data is clear. It's a 90% fail rate with that approach.
Yeah,
I would say closer to 100% if you stretch it out long enough. So it's like, do you want to do this in a way to where you can keep it, or do you want to play this game where you go up and down your whole life?
well, that's why it's always been hard to talk somebody out of that, because it does produce, a more rapid result, but it's not a sustainable approach. And to think of it more of an investment and, really kind of like diligently drawing that out is something that is a hard thing to sell as a coach, but it's the right thing.
Well, it's a brilliant analogy too, because you do see those results in the short term, but how many people could really, just like working the extra, let's say 4 or 5 hours a day, like you're already working an 8 to 10 hour day, but you now know, if I work 4 or 5 more hours, you will get more money.
Yeah.
But ask yourself, how long would you continually work 12 to 14 hour days every single day? Yeah. And even if you could see yourself doing that,
how miserable are you going to feel?
Yeah, like
and then from where do you go from there?
Exactly. You're not going to work now 20-hour days. No. You're going to inevitably go back the other direction, and then the crash. And that's exactly what happens with people with this, is that they're in a place right now this is a great question, because this is a very common place, right? Take out his height, his weight, and all that stuff is irrelevant, but somebody who is trying to cut, gets stuck, hits this plateau, seeing strength gains, but not seeing, and they're already kind of low calorie. And the thought is, add cardio, reduce calories, and yeah, you'll see this initial drop. But then you have to ask yourself, now I'm eating 1,500 calories. I'm a 200-pound man, 1,500 calories, and I'm doing cardio 3-4 times a week. Like, is that something I'm going to do for the rest of my life? Not realistically.
No, think long term and make it work forever. That's the bottom line.